I'm never going to comment something negative on someone's TikTok, but I will like people who I agree with. It's giving Lele Pons and Amanda Cerny.
Spectrum News is lit.
You stabbed him because the kitchen was too hot?
This is niche bug.
I'm going to talk about it anyway.
I believe that dog groomers need to have a Domino's tracker attached to them.
100%.
Why did it take 4 hours to get our dog groomed? She is an 8-pound Dachshund of sorts. We were so bored in Pasadena just walking around.
Yeah, we went on a bunch of errands that we did not need to go on.
We went into a pottery barn. That should tell you everything.
We went to the dispensary, the post office,
we went
the
to
pottery
lunch.
barn,
We went to
lunch, to coffee, to Banana Republic. I mean, it was a lot. Honestly, I wish that they had cameras.
She did say that we could get pictures sent to us straight out of the bath or something.
I'm going to ask that next time.
Definitely need to get that. I don't know, if they had some sort of like, you could pop from camera to camera and you get like an expiratory link. Okay, she's in the bath area. Okay, now she's in the drying area. Now she's in the clipping area.
I have the best idea. If Healthy Spot doesn't take this idea, they need to go live on TikTok all fucking day while they're grooming. When you drop off your dog to get groomed, you consent to it being on the TikTok. They will make so much money. Who doesn't want to see a cute little dog getting blow dried and going...
That's a much better idea than those people that go live working at Burger King.
I live for those people.
But
I watch McDonald's personally.
That's fine, but think about watching dog groomers rather than watching patties get flipped.
If there's a place that does that, someone should let us know, because I would love to watch that. It seems very calming and it seems very cute. But I'm really glad that we are happy with Junebug's haircut, because we were very paranoid. Maybe she'll come up here at some point.
Come here.
Come on, June.
Now, everybody, I want to reintroduce you to the love of our lives, Junebug.
Junebug, can you go to the camera?
Can I show everybody Junebug?
Oh my gosh.
And she got a little butt.
She's a little princess.
Oh, but she's burpy because she
you just lifted her up from her tummy right after she ate.
Yeah. Take a seat, Junebug.
Yeah, she's got to lay down now. Anyway, she looks so cute. I'm so happy. Shout out to Healthy Spot. They do a great job. Speaking of making a shit ton of money on TikTok, I don't know if you've been keeping up with this bran flakez story. He went on a podcast and said that he makes $768,000 a year on brand deals and from the TikTok Creator Fund. He says, I pay all my bills and my rent with the Creator Fund, and everything else is just extra.
Oh, wow. So all the brand deals is just extra spending money?
Yes. I am amazed. Honestly, I'm not mad.
No, make your money. Make your money.
A lot of people get mad at that. Like, even when we were talking about Remy Cruz, they were like, why is she making $45,000 for an Instagram post? And I'm a nurse and I make, $60,000 a year.
Does he make good content, or is it just content in general?
I really like his content.
What does he do?
You know what's weird? It's very hard to describe what he does. He's like a lifestyle creator. He'll film himself telling a random story, talking about his friend getting a boyfriend that he doesn't like. He'll go to a restaurant and be like, this is a struggling restaurant in Philadelphia. Like, come with me and I'll sample the menu and, stuff like that. So it's kind of random.
A little bit of everything.
The last video I saw from him was a Prada and Miu Miu haul. I think that he's doing great. And that video gives a lot of hope to creators, like, oh my God, I can actually make real money doing this.
Now the question is everybody capable of making that kind of money?
The discourse that I've been seeing has been really positive. This is so great for creators. I'm going to get on my Zoom. I'm going to start filming, da 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 da. But then there's some other people who are like, Bran Flakes makes $768,000 a year, but that does not mean that you ever will.
Haters.
Actually, one of them, Tyreek told you, he's like one of my favorite TikTokers. He was like, let me give you your daily dose of negativity. Because he's like, I don't want y'all to be getting on your Zoom and picking up your camera. I want the $700,000. I don't want to split it with you hoes.
I mean, if you're not entertaining while you're hating, you're just mean.
Yeah, that's so true. I saw a mean one where I was like, in the comment section, I'm never going to comment something negative on someone's TikTok, but I will like people who I agree with. And I saw a comment that was like, you're not going to make $700,000, babe. And he was like, clock it.
Okay, so let's discuss though the greater essence of influencer marketing from a creator perspective, because I don't think anybody would disagree that there's a huge discrepancy on what some people get paid and what other people get paid. Oftentimes it could be racial or gender based discrimination. We can't deny that there's always going to be some sort of discrepancy and discrimination, whether that is by intention or not. We're not going to unionize influencers. There's too many of them. There's too many clients.
I was thinking that would be a good idea.
I just don't think it's feasible to try and get all these influencers to try and get in a union, especially with so many influencers who are kids.
But what does SAG do with the kid actors? Do they have their own union?
No, they have their parents. It's all that.
Okay,
Sure, you could do that. I just think that someone could create an account and blow up tomorrow. It's not the same as acting, so I don't think that a union really makes sense. But what I do think makes sense is a quarterly influencer marketing report sent out by every company with greater than 50 employees.
Ooh.
You have to submit every quarter how much you paid your influencers for your marketing, and you have to notate their follower count, their engagement rate, where they're located,
race.
But you could exclude their actual handle, so you're not like throwing people under the bus.
There would definitely be a subreddit dedicated to finding out who these people were.
1,000%. But imagine a brand reaches out to you and you can go to their earnings report and look at that document and say, okay, I see you just paid 20 grand for someone with similar stats to me. That is my starting off negotiation point. That would allow so many creators who are, say, don't know where to start with their negotiation, say they're not represented yet. I mean, you just got representation and they just started off your rate package. What? 300% more than what you're already asking for?
Yeah, it was nuts. I was like,
you don't even know what to ask for. And
I don't. No one does.
And no one can blame you. It's all subjective. I think if you have that sort of transparency from the brand side, I think that could help a lot of creators. And I think that solves a lot of the injustice that you see with certain creators that get paid more than others. I think we need a petition for this to happen. And I don't know if I need to be the champion for this, but
Bran Flakes. We got to work with Bran Flakes.
Bran Flakes doesn't want it because maybe that means that he's going to start getting paid less.
Ooh.
Maybe brands are going to want to not pay as much because they're not going to want to have everyone else coming for that same amount of money.
See, that's the thing that's good about how things are now is that there isn't really a ceiling because nobody knows. Nothing is regulated. Nothing is set. So you can really blow them out of the water with what you're asking for.
1,000%. And you are going to have some of the bigger earners make a little bit less, but you're going to have a lot of the lower levels make a little bit more. And I think that's super helpful for everybody.
Democratic socialism.
Yes.
I love that idea. And in the meantime, I feel like not enough people know about this, so they're not using it. FYPM, if you Google that, it's basically, it means fuck you, pay me. It is a Yelp of sorts for influencers to share what brands they work with, how much they got paid, how many followers they have, what the deliverables were, and you can write a review and be like, this bitch who works in influencer marketing didn't pay me fast enough, or like changed her mind on the creative or whatever.
Which obviously sometimes is more about the worker than the company.
Right. But it's just like, it's Yelp. You go into the horrible McDonald's, our local horrible McDonald's, and you have a bad experience, you might leave a bad review, but you can mention, that bitch Stacy didn't give me my McFlurry because the ice cream machine was broken.
Or you've got the Chipotle worker who loaded up our bowls like crazy.
Oh my God. Shout out to her.
She deserves a raise.
She does. It's the kind of thing where I want her to get a raise and be rewarded, but I can't tell her manager because she might get in trouble.
Also, if she gets a raise or gets promoted, maybe she's off the line and she's no longer scooping. Now I don't have my girl hooking me up. So I gotta keep you down a little bit.
Anyway, fuck you, pay me. Great resource. Honestly, a lot of brands are on there. So you just have to write a review in order to see the reviews. So we can do that in the meantime. But yeah, influencers making $800,000 a year. Honestly, I feel like it should give everyone who wants to be an influencer motivation and hope. But at the same time, it is not going to be enough to keep you consistent. So just make sure that you're actually into it and doing something that you like doing for free. Like this show.
Hey.
I do this for free. Have you been seeing this discourse about how New York City influencers are boring? There was this girl who posted a TikTok basically just saying, I'm so sick of these New York City influencers. They're so boring. All they do is go to a 6 a.m. Pilates class. Why the fuck are you going to class that early? getting a matcha, making their bed, and making their little drink.
Or are these like the girls that are like my day in the life routine, and it's like them doing yoga on the balcony and like a $300 like yoga set?
Yeah. It honestly is so funny to me because they will get up and go, like she said, to a 6 a.m. Pilates class. Why the fuck are you getting up at 6 a.m.?
Why would they lie about that?
They get up at 6 a.m. and then they go get their coffee. They go to Trader Joe's. They go home. They take a shower.
They got nothing else to do. It's not like they got to get ready for work at 8 a.m.
Exactly. Like, what are we doing?
Maybe they go at 6 a.m. because they can film at 6 a.m. Maybe they can film their Pilates class at 6 a.m. Whereas if they went at the 8 a.m., they wouldn't be able to, be too crowded and they wouldn't be able to film.
It's possible, but a lot of people go to the 6 a.m. You'd be surprised.
You know what? I'm not going to hate on the 6 a.m. because I would much rather see influencers waking up at 6 and promoting an early morning lifestyle than the late night party lifestyle.
That's true. Wow, you really turned that around. Yeah. So maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying to be good influences, but regardless, the videos make it seem like they don't do anything. I know there's probably a lot of stuff that they're doing that they can't post.
These are the same people that are probably like going to such and such sample sale. Let me do a haul. I feel like those types of girls are like always finding like a sample sale. Like
they are really good at finding sample sales.
Like they could probably afford whatever, but they want to go to the sample sale because sample sales are kind of bucks.
Yeah, like they won't go to a thrift store, but they'll go to a sample sale.
1,000%. Yeah.
So this girl doesn't use any names or anything. And the New York City influencers, the white girls, they started crashing out. They were like duetting her. Kit Keenan commented on her video and said, "I've never received criticism or hate from someone whose life I wanted."
Which is kind of like a Confucius quote, which is like really funny because it totally makes sense, but you weren't called out. Like it wasn't to you directly.
She didn't say your name.
She has that quote saved, ready, locked in, loaded to use.
100%.
And right then and there was not the time to use it.
100%. It's really weird. Acquired Style is another New York City influencer. Her and her twin are both influencers.
Both basic influencers?
Yes. One of them had a job in finance, but she quit. So they do that kind of thing where they go to the grocery store and they go to yoga. And she did the most unhinged duet. She was like jumping around her room, just like, it was honestly kind of scary. She deleted it. Her comments are off right now. A lot of the New York City influencers who responded to her have their comments off now because everyone's like, bitch, she didn't even talk about you.
I don't know. Maybe pick up a hobby. Show us you doing something that maybe extends past the influencer world. You're starting a crochet business.
Yes. I want to say one of my favorite New York City influencers, K-Babe, Kaylee, we used to work together, but she's also a New York City influencer. She showed herself going to book clubs. She's taking sewing classes. I watched her make a skirt. I mean, she's really doing things. Honestly, follow people like K-Babe.
Money can't buy you class.
Money can buy you class.
Let it just be known that I am not hating on influencers that do normal stuff, that do basic stuff and all that.
I follow them.
I just want to say that if you are bitching about someone bitching about you,
right,
you need to rethink it. But if you're just living your life and you're just making content and that's what works for you and you're happy doing that, by all means, crush it, make your money. No big deal. But if you want to clap back at someone who's just like talking about a genre of influencers.
It's like a random person. It's not even an influencer. It's like... She had like 300 followers
before this.
Yeah. It's really wild. And I'm not knocking the boring influencers because I do follow them. I find some boring influencers to be very soothing and I like that kind of content. That being said, there are a lot of good, interesting influencers of color in New York City. I know that girl was not talking about them, who these people should be following instead of these boring people if you don't like them. Anaya, Clark, there are so many good Black influencers in New York City who live interesting lives and do interesting things.
You know what I feel like I don't see enough of in the responses to these types of situations is people making videos saying, if you don't like this, follow these.
I should do that.
You should absolutely do that.
I mean, I think that it's very easy to get trapped in your For You page and just keep getting stuck in the sea of boringness.
And it's easy to hate.
It is easy to hate, especially from outside the club. But they were taking it really personally, and I find that very entertaining.
So I found a new genre of TikTok that I'm really, really into right now. Just speaking because you don't mind the boring influencers.
Yes. Go on.
Car broker influencers. They literally will negotiate and buy people's cars, and then they'll make videos about that negotiation process. The same thing with selling cars to people. So this guy just like literally sold $1 million G-Wagon 6x6, 6 wheels, 3 on each side.
Oh, like, what? That exists?
It exists. It's literally probably one of the most expensive cars on the planet.
Why would you want 3 wheels on each side?
It's just extravagance.
Okay.
The military has vehicles like that because it gives them extra load capacity so they could carry more stuff, do more things. But, for a G-Wagon, for a street vehicle, it's just extra to be extra.
Okay, that's interesting. I like rich activities.
It's just like, okay, cool. I had a $700,000 car for 3 years and was like, I'm bored. I see $1 million car that you bought on TikTok. I'm going to reach out to you and I'm going to buy that car from you off of TikTok.
Oh, so the rich people are seeing the TikToks and he's getting more business.
Hell yeah. But also some people are seeing the TikToks and trying to scam them and like bringing in, I just saw this like Hellcat that got brought in and they're trying to paint it as like, I got this car. It was, off of the courts awarded it to me for some reason. I'm not gonna tell the whole story, but then the guy goes out and checks it, and because he deals with cars all day, he's looking at the car, he's like, bruh, this thing's been repainted, it's body work done. They're trying to take one over on me.
Oh my god, they sound like the BMW that likes to sell cars that have been in accidents.
Sounds like a personal story for another time. But basically doesn't want all the smoke, but shows it for the video. They Googled the VIN number. The car is sitting literally in a junkyard, scrapped because it was so wrecked. And now they're trying to sell it like it wasn't wrecked, but they like they try to do some sort of like VIN number swap or something.
Oh, wow. That's a deep scam.
But I think it's pretty interesting to see how some people approach these negotiation tactics and how some people just want to spend their ton of money.
That is nuts. See, it's always interesting to see what side of TikTok you're on because I have never seen anything remotely like that. Black queens forever, snow bunnies never, as Dr. Umar would say. But turns out Dr. Umar is a fucking deadbeat dad.
Is he actually deadbeat?
Okay, so his daughter got on TikTok and was basically saying, I am Dr. Umar's daughter. He has wanted nothing to do with me, didn't show up for graduations, birthdays, nothing. I've been trying to get in contact with him. He has another daughter who I'm also trying to reach. So if you see this, please message me. I've been trying to reach you and I want a conversation with him. I want to sit down.
Do they live in the same state?
She lives in Philadelphia, and he was saying in his response, I've been to Philadelphia so many times. How come you never hit me up? First of all, you're the fucking dad.
You're the one traveling into her state.
I don't think that it makes a lot of sense when deadbeat dads pull the phone works both ways thing.
He left her and didn't fight for custody. So why should she be fighting to try and reach out to him every time she magically knows that he's traveling into Philadelphia?
Right. And he was like, I've had the same phone number for 20 years. You can reach out to me if you want to. You can reach out to me this whole time. It's like, why should she have to reach out to you?
Did she have his phone number, or does her mom have his phone number and her mom won't give it to her?
No, she has tried to contact him.
Oh, so she has tried calling him.
And she doesn't hear back.
So his argument is getting pretty flawed here. Does he pay his child support? Does he do
He claims that he has been paying child support since before she was born. I don't know what her stance is on that, but her whole thing is whatever you were doing, it was not enough. You didn't show up. You weren't there for me. She also alleged that he was abusive towards her mom. There's just a lot happening there. But are we surprised?
No, but I will say that it is pretty deadbeat activity to not show up to milestones for your kids. Even if you're paying your bills, you're paying your child support, you're doing all that kind of stuff, you are still owing something to your kids to show up at least to the big events.
Yeah. A birthday,
if not every year. Some years?
The thing is that his audience is largely other hoteps. So they understand the way that his mind works, and they probably do think that it's okay to pull the phone works both ways thing.
So it's just a big echo chamber in his comments.
Right. Or people like me who just see the clips and laugh. At ease, my queen. It doesn't matter where I am, on TikTok, Instagram, listening to Trisha Paytas' podcast. All I ever hear about nowadays is fucking DraftKings. What is with this prevalence? Are more people doing sports betting now?
It's huge. When you watch sports on ESPN, it's at the bottom like There's a sports betting app like Plus Minus. Like if you tune in now and you want to bet now, the bet on Luka Doncic getting 30 points this game is now, minus 120 or something. I don't know what sports betting, what all that lingo and numbers mean per se, but they have a shit ton of money. I mean, they lobbied the government to get it passed.
And I fell for it, I fear.
Yeah, I have some strong opinions on like sports betting.
Oh, share.
To me, sports betting is kind of like cigarettes. It could be really detrimental to a lot of people's lives. People's homes get wrecked because of sports betting and, gambling problems. And I don't think that it's enough to just put at the bottom a little, asterisk sticker that says, if you have a problem, call this number for, gambling help. I think that we shouldn't legislate against people's ability to bet, but I do think that you shouldn't be advertising it the way that you are. You're not allowed to advertise cigarettes in America. You shouldn't be able to advertise sports betting.
So was it illegal to advertise it before, or is this just more prevalent now because of DraftKings and all of that online stuff that's popping up? Because I feel like I never even saw anything about sports betting until recently.
Sports betting only became legal in California outside of Indian casinos when the ballot measure got passed in like 2022.
So this is new.
It's very new. And they have so much money that they took it by storm. You got DraftKings, ESPN has their own betting thing. On X, all I see is rainbow bets. And I don't even know what the hell that is, but they just slap a watermark on like viral videos. And then underneath is every single one is a community note that says, this video is sponsored by Rainbow Bets, which is a legal advertising partner with this platform. It's so fucking illegitimate because lo and behold, Elon Musk blows.
Wow. And we really made it a few good episodes there without bringing up Elon Musk.
Yeah, but we had to bring it back because, the platform blows that way.
Oh, no.
At least that's how I see it on mine. But I spend a lot more time on Twitter than you do.
Yeah, I'm never really on Twitter anymore.
It really is just becoming such a huge talking point, both with commentators before games, on talk shows with analysts. They're always talking about this, and it's really, really invasive to the point where it's really not healthy. And it's honestly just capitalism trying to capitalize.
Well, I'm sure ESPN, they're trying to promote their betting app, or they have partnerships with other betting apps. Of course, they're going to bring it up constantly.
Athletes are getting brand deals in order to promote it.
Why is Trisha Paytas promoting it?
They have a shit ton of money, and Trisha Paytas is going to take that brand deal.
But Trisha Paytas they know that she has a majority female audience who doesn't give a shit about sports.
Now that's on DraftKings' problem for reaching out and
their
going
paid marketing team is just throwing shit wherever they can right now, I guess.
I don't even know what you would compare it to. People with just so much money where they don't even care. They're just spreading it because
it's like FabFitFun in 2018. Real Housewife, Bachelorette, influencer, Rachel Dolezal.
And if I'm not mistaken, when you spend money on marketing, isn't that tax deductible?
It sure is.
Right. So they just want to spend a shit ton of money. And DraftKings and things like that isn't, I think, available in every state, but in California it is. Apparently tourism in Vegas is going down. And I think a lot of that to blame is the fact that you can bet on sports in a lot more places than you could before.
The cigarettes comparison, I think, is very accurate. I think we're going to look back at this time that created so many gambling addicts, and our culture was so centered around gambling, and be like, what was wrong with us?
And the people most susceptible are lower incomes because they honestly prey on it with their marketing. You come in, you sign up, we're going to give you $500 free to spend.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
They'll do things like that. They'll also be like, you could buy that thing you want to buy with one parlay, which is like you have to bet on 5 things or 10 things and they all have to hit in order for you to win, but the payout is mega.
Do you think that they're buying people's data and targeting them according to what kind of stuff they buy?
1,000%.
This is fucked up. This is kind of dark. I wonder how many people in the U.S. are addicted to gambling.
I would love to see the statistics on how much that has risen since DraftKings and all them started.
Same. I will add that in text. That's worse than I ever thought. I know it's going to be worse than I thought.
This is not niche news, but Doechii just got awarded Billboard's Woman of the Year. And I think that is super well deserved. I think she's really the full package.
She is so talented, and I had never even heard of her until her Tiny Desk. And I was like, this is so good. I find so many good people through the Tiny Desk videos.
Great. NPR Tiny Desk, you gotta put that in there. Doechii was bullied. She came back and said, fuck this shit. I'm not going to let anyone do anything to me. And she rebranded to doechii. And that's her alter ego. That is her, like, no one's going to get me down again.
That's interesting because if you go back on her TikTok and see older videos of hers, she talks about her future in music like she already knows it's going to happen. She was hardcore manifesting. Like, I know I'm going to be at the Grammys. I just need so-and-so to listen to my music and they're going to love it. She really believed in herself.
If there is any proof in the world that tenacity and persistence and manifestation, I think doechii amplifies all that.
I'm telling you, it applies to everything. Music, trying to be a rapper, to being an influencer and making $800,000 a year like Bran Flakes. It's not always about being the most talented, even though doechii is so talented. She is like the whole package. I'm saying for others, it's not just about the talent. It's about continuing on and just never accepting that it's not going to happen for you.
And just showing up.
Yes.
And stop caring what other people think. Stop caring that you're worried that your high school friend's going to see you post this makeup tutorial and you're going to be embarrassed. Stop caring that you're worried about what someone from your family even might say. Stop worrying about, being embarrassing. Do the thing and they will all come crawling back later.
Yes. Which brings me to the drama that I didn't know doechii at the time, so it didn't really click. But when doechii started blowing up this year, I remembered when Baby Storm leaked her text with Ice Spice, and Ice Spice was shading doechii and Nicki Minaj in the texts.
Ice Spice really tried to come for Nicki?
Yeah. She said, but then she'll be like, I'm dark skinned, so I always have to work harder than everyone.
Talking about Nicki Minaj.
Talking about doechii.
Oh, talking about doechii. And doechii.
She said that Nicki Minaj was giving delusional like her mother. But this is what she said about doechii. But then she'll be like, I'm dark skinned, so I always have to work harder than everyone else. Crying emoji, gun emoji. Some girl on Twitter stooped low, so I went to hell. And Baby Stormy said, this is actually true, but only partially. I hate the song. Like, actually, I didn't like it when I first heard it either. I think it's annoying, but her team did a lot to push it. And Ice Spice said, which I understand, but let's not act like she's not one of the chosen dark skins because she does benefit from pretty privilege still and for being skinny. Booty drop. I don't know what the booty drop was about, but
so they're hating on doechii's song, but the team was trying to push it real hard.
They're hating on the song, and Ice Spice is saying doechii is constantly complaining, I'm dark skinned, so like they're not taking me seriously, I have to work harder, when she has pretty privilege. Real. So she needs to shut up about that. I'm sorry, Ice Spice. Why are you commenting on what a dark-skinned woman's experience is?
That's just hater energy, because obviously that
Very
was before
much.
doechii even blew up. But maybe she saw the writing on the wall of what doechii could become.
It's giving Lele Pons and Amanda Cerny. Lele Pons saw Amanda Cerny's potential, and it made her so jealous that she would delete her videos from her Instagram.
That sounds like a deep cut.
Go to my TikTok. Which is very interesting because now doechii's everywhere, but I don't really see Ice Spice. I saw a TikTok prank someone pulled when she was on an escalator. They played her song and started dancing. I also vaguely remember a scandal where someone's man was stolen by Ice Spice on TikTok. Lately, when I come back from Pilates in the morning, you are watching Spectrum News.
Spectrum News is lit. I don't think people are on it yet.
They're not, but they should be.
It is a POC crew.
The news is interesting, first of all. Let's start there.
I'm chilling with it.
Yeah, but this morning you were watching it, and they were talking about how the new DA here, Hochman, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't give a fuck because I didn't vote for him. But he is against the Menendez brothers being resentenced.
Yeah.
Because they lied so much. And he is kind of one of those people who denies that they were sexually abused, which I find very disturbing.
He says that their actions don't constitute self-defense.
Right.
Because, it obviously wasn't like they self-defensed in the moment of being attacked as much as they, obviously planned something out or whatever. The Menendez brothers are not niche, but the possibility of them being released or resentenced, I think, is up to the judge.
Yes, it is.
And this is niche. If you're not in LA watching your local news, I don't think you're seeing too much of this news.
I think you probably heard that they are allowed to be resentenced, but the national news isn't really covering it as much anymore. So I'm sure a lot of people haven't really been keeping up too closely, but I feel like this new DA in LA is being a little harsh. They've been in prison for over 20 years now. I think they have served their time. Their family, also their parents' family, same family, wants them released.
It's a lot of he said, she said, because the family's been saying that they look and feel and talk rehabilitated, but the DA is like, they don't seem remorseful at all for their actions. Bro, how much time have you spent with them?
Right. I mean, anybody can say anything. I can make up some shit. I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
They've done their time. They've been in there for long enough.
I don't know how the law works here, but I want to say that the DA can influence maybe the judges hearing this out, but I think it's the judge who ultimately decides whether
the judge has the final say, but we don't know if the judge is I don't know the judge's relationship with the DA.
Right, exactly.
I don't know what's going on there. I think that it's time to do a little advocacy work on This Is Niche, and I think that we should all email or call Nathan Hochman.
The number will be down below in one of those 1990s fonts.
Yeah, I think that we should all email, call, reach out to the Los Angeles County DA and let him know that we support the resentencing of the Menendez brothers and that they've done their time, and we feel like society is in no danger if they are released. Their family wants them released as well. And just let him know that we are watching and keeping up with this, because I think that he's counting on the national attention that the Menendez brothers got from that Netflix show waning away.
100%.
And now no one's going to be paying attention when I pull these strings and they don't get resentenced. And we do not want that to happen.
I mean, call me a pessimist, but I don't feel like reaching out to your local officials does as much as public demonstration. I feel like they could take those calls and put them in the trash can and press delete, because so many of our local officials and representatives are not there to actually do what we care about, but what they have in their mind for their agenda. But I do think that if they are publicly pressured to do something, that's when they listen, because it's all about their image.
Yes, I will say I do encourage you to write into your representatives, because in student politics, a lot of my friends have interned at their offices and stuff, and they actually do answer every single phone call and read every single email and tally up how many people care about certain issues, and that's what they give to the representative. So if we flood the DA's phone and email, his intern is going to be like, hey, 2,000 people called about the Menendez brothers. They're watching.
Hey, listen, that may be true, and I hope that they are tallying them. However, I think it's very easy for them to ignore those if it isn't publicly posted about. If they just have to just take a report and put it in the trash can, I think that they're doing self-serving business.
So everyone needs to remind everyone that the Menendez brothers need to be resentenced. They deserve to be released. And tag the DA.
Tag the DA, make a post.
Encourage your boring NYC influencer friends to make posts. I will never forget the Barbara Walters 2020 interview with the Menendez brothers. It was shortly after they got sentenced, I believe. They were in prison. Go watch that. That's some real shit. The point is that we need to remind the DA that none of us have forgotten about them. And we need to remind them that we haven't forgotten about them. We did get some townie tea submissions. I am still waiting on one particular submission that one of my followers said that she's sending in to come in, because it's really funny. But just a reminder, please email me your hometown hot gossip. Bonus points if it's funny. If it's sad, that's not really
we want to laugh over here. We love a scammer.
Love a scammer. Love a cheating scandal.
Love
a drug ring. We'll get there someday. But the Menendez brothers conversation reminded me of some townie tea that my mom gave me about Floyd County.
You and your mom and your aunt were on the phone for like a good 2 hours just talking about different tea going on.
My aunt gave me a lot of townie tea that falls into the categories that we were just talking about that we do not want to talk about on here. But a story that my mom told me was her and her sisters going to the courthouse every day because this woman was accused of stabbing her husband. My mom and her sisters and her friends who went all supported the woman because the defense was that the man was abusive and she just snapped mid-abuse and stabbed him. My mom was watching in the courtroom, and it's like one of the final days, and she's on the stand being questioned, and the prosecutor just pushes her and pushes her and pushes her. And eventually she's like, well, he told me that he wouldn't stay in the kitchen with me because the kitchen was too hot when I was cooking, so I stabbed him. And my mom was like, you did? You stabbed him because the kitchen was too hot? And he was drunk and went to bed, and she went in later and stabbed him for that.
Wow.
The whole defense fell apart. She went to jail for that one.
That's a quick sentencing.
I think that the courtroom outburst really does lead to a lot of justice being served, because my mom said, I was convinced she didn't do it. I was convinced, of course.
She put on a good show.
She put on a good show, and then she snapped. And that's the sign of a good lawyer. If you can make someone snap, they do it all the time on Law and Order.
That's the few good men thing. Tom Cruise is a Navy lawyer, and he is the defense attorney for these two Army guys, basically. And they're accused of basically disobeying orders and being court-martialed, this whole thing. He finds out the admiral, Jack Nicholson, basically framed them or something. And he gets him to crack. He pressures him on the stand. And that's where I want the truth.
Oh.
You can't handle the truth.
Yes.
Right? Junebug even knows that scene.
Yes, she got riled up by that. Wow, we should watch that. But yeah, that was like the big case in my mom's hometown. I thought that was an interesting mini townie tea to tide us over until we get more submissions. And then next time we can talk about the drug ring at my high school that got 4 kids and a mother arrested. It involves bath salts as well.
I've also got some tea coming from my grandmother's library bookstore and this pastor who is scamming the library.
We've got a scammer, a liar, a messy bitch who lives for drama.
He was threatening my grandmother.
Wait, don't give away the whole story, okay?
I'm just getting people excited because I'm getting the tea. I was gonna.
It actually is so. It's such a good, like, deep story.
I was gonna call my grandmother and get the tea, but she has a cold right now, so she's got to rest, and I wasn't gonna try and rile her up with this yet.
Well, what we were really trying to do was go over to her house, let Junebug run around, get the tea, and have coffee.
My grandmother does have a yard, and so that's where Junebug gets to be off leash and run around and be crazy.
Yeah, so we were killing multiple birds with many stones there. For our nichelord this week, I figured that we could do just a few nichelords. If you are following the boring NYC influencers, you should follow these nichelords instead. Anaya Marinia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She is an NYC influencer, works in marketing, baddie.
Not boring.
K-Babe, previously mentioned, great at sewing, always doing something interesting, dresses impeccably. Esther, paragraphs and pixels, very real, very deep. I have cried watching her TikToks before. I love her so much. And I'm going to make a TikTok too, shouting out some NYC influencers who are not boring, who deserve more followers.
So let's give a moment for these nichelords.
And with that, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at bria.stuart to see my influencer list. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you like internet history, pop culture, reality TV, niche things. Send me your townie tea. Follow Will at willg.mcneil on Instagram. Follow Junebug at goodjobjunebug. And deuces.